Most people think they're on the path to becoming a millionaire. They work hard, earn well, and feel like they're doing enough. But in reality, three hidden habits are quietly killing their chances. And the worst part? They don't even notice until it's too late. We all know there are real hardships that can delay financial freedom: job loss, medical bills, economic crises. Those are real and unavoidable for some. But this video isn't about those challenges. This is about people who should be getting richer every year, but aren't. They earn more than average. They have a comfortable home, a decent car, and enough for vacations. On paper, they look like they're winning, but in reality, their net worth barely moves. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you have the ability to save and invest every single month, there is no mathematical reason why you can't reach your first million, unless you're making the same mistakes that keep the majority stuck in place. And that's exactly what we're going to uncover. The three biggest wealth killers that quietly sabotage high earners. The same patterns that make decades of work feel like treading water. But we're not stopping at the problems, because I'll also show you how to break free, how to rebuild your financial life in a way that makes your first million not just possible, but inevitable. Because if you want to cross the seven-figure mark, you can't just work harder, you have to start playing a completely different game. This is the silent trap that catches more people than any bad investment ever will. It's so common that most don't even recognize it's happening to them until years have gone by. Here's how it works. You get a raise, your paycheck gets bigger, and almost instantly your expenses expand to match it. The apartment gets a little bigger, maybe in a nicer part of town. The car gets newer, with features you never really needed, but now can't imagine living without. Vacations shift from budget trips to all-inclusive resorts. Restaurants go from an occasional treat to a weekly habit. And at first, it feels like progress. After all, you're enjoying the rewards of your hard work, right? You tell yourself, I've earned this. And in a way, you have. But here's the problem. If every new dollar that comes in also goes out, your wealth doesn't grow. You're just upgrading your comfort, not your freedom. In America, we call this lifestyle creep. It's the modern version of the rat race. You live better, sure, but you're still chained to the next paycheck. I've seen this happen to six-figure earners who, on paper, should be wealthy by now. Instead, they're one missed paycheck away from financial stress. Why? Because they've built a lifestyle that requires every penny of their income to sustain. Here's the harsh reality. Climbing the lifestyle ladder is easy. Climbing back down is painful. That's why so many people stay stuck. They've locked themselves into expenses they can't easily undo. If you want to build real wealth, you have to resist the urge to let your spending rise in lockstep with your income. Live slightly below your means, even when you can afford more. Not because you want to deprive yourself, but because every dollar you keep is a soldier that can be sent out to work for you, instead of disappearing into the latest upgrade. And those soldiers, over time, become your army. An army that works 24/7, never calls in sick, and doesn't care about recessions, because it's fueled by discipline, not impulse. When people finally start saving, they often make a critical mistake. They become obsessed with finding the perfect investment. They jump from stock to stock, crypto to crypto, fund to fund, chasing tips from friends, guaranteed opportunities from influencers, or the latest asset that promises overnight wealth. It feels exciting. It feels like you're being smart and proactive. But here's the truth. In the early stages, your rate of return matters far less than your rate of contribution. Think about it. If you have $5,000 invested, even a 20% return, an incredible, unrealistic year only adds $1,000. That's nice, but it's not life-changing. However, if you simply invest $1,000 more from your own income, you've matched that amazing gain instantly, without the risk. In the beginning, your wealth engine isn't compounding. It's you, your salary, your side income, your discipline to keep adding fuel to the fire. I've seen beginners spend hours researching which stock will double this year, while completely ignoring the fact that their contributions are irregular or worse, non-existent some months. And here's the irony. Many who constantly chase the best investment actually end up with worse results than those who just pick a reasonable, diversified plan and stick to it. Why? Because they're constantly buying high, selling low, and paying fees in between. Yes, investment performance matters, Of course it does, but it matters more later when your portfolio is large enough that small percentage changes equal big dollar amounts. Until then, your time is better spent increasing your income, saving more, and sticking to a solid, boring long-term plan, rather than chasing every headline or next big thing. The truth is, boring investing often builds exciting wealth, and exciting investing often ends in disappointment. This is the mistake that quietly kills more millionaire dreams than any market crash ever could. People start strong. They invest for a few months, maybe even a couple of years. But because the results are slow at first, they lose motivation. Here's why. In the early years, compound interest feels almost invisible. If you invest $1,000 a month for a year at 8%, you'll end up with about $12,980. Of that, $12,000 came from your own pocket. Only $980 came from growth. That's not exciting. It's not life-changing. And it's exactly at this stage where most people stop. They think, what's the point? This is going nowhere. They take a break, skip a few months, maybe even cash out for a big purchase. And every time they do, they hit the reset button on their wealth. It's like planting seeds and pulling them out every spring to check if they're growing. You never give them a chance to take root. The magic of compounding doesn't happen in the first few years. It happens after years of not quitting. After you've kept feeding the snowball long enough for it to roll on its own. Once your investments reach a certain size, the returns start to get bigger than your contributions. That's when the game flips. That's when you realize your money is finally working harder than you are. But you'll never reach that point if you abandon the plan halfway. Markets will go up, markets will go down. That's a guarantee. What's not guaranteed is that you'll stay in the game long enough to let time work in your favor. Those who win aren't always the smartest or the luckiest. They're the ones who simply refuse to stop. Escaping these traps isn't about finding some secret that only the wealthy know. It's not about being a financial genius or taking wild risks. It's about mastering the fundamentals, then repeating them for years without losing focus. Step 1. Control your budget. You cannot build wealth if every raise turns into a bigger car payment, a fancier apartment, or higher monthly expenses. Track where your money actually goes. Most people are shocked when they do this for the first time because they realize they're leaking money in places that don't improve their lives at all. Cut expenses that don't add lasting value. This doesn't mean stripping all joy from your life. It means making conscious choices. Maybe you keep the premium gym membership you love, but you stop ordering $60 of takeout every weekend. Maybe you keep traveling, but you downgrade hotels so you can invest the difference. The key is to protect the gap between your income and expenses. That gap is the fuel for your wealth engine. Without it, nothing else works. Step 2. Focus on increasing your income. Especially in the early years, your income is your most powerful accelerator. Every extra dollar invested now has decades to grow. That could mean asking for a raise, starting a side hustle, freelancing, or learning a skill that commands higher pay. It could mean selling things you don't use and putting that money straight into your investments. The point is to widen the gap between what you earn and what you spend so more money flows into your financial system every single month. Step 3. Create a plan you understand and stick to it. If your investment strategy feels like a mystery, you'll abandon it at the first sign of trouble. Build a portfolio you actually believe in, diversify across asset classes and even countries, and know exactly why each piece is there. When markets get rough, and they will, you'll have the confidence to keep going because you understand what you own and why you own it. The wealthy aren't immune to bad markets. They just have systems that survive them. Big goals are built on small, repeatable actions. If you want to hit your first million, you don't just need motivation. You need systems that work automatically, even when you're tired, busy, or distracted. Automate your savings. The easiest way to save more is to remove the choice altogether. Set up automatic transfers into your investment account right after payday. That way, saving happens before you even see the money in your checking account. When you leave the decision for later, human nature kicks in. Something will always come up. A dinner invitation, a sale at your favorite store, a trip you didn't plan for. By automating, you protect your future from your present impulses. Eliminate the slow leaks. Review your subscriptions at least once a year. It's easy to forget about that $15 streaming service, the $10 app, or the $25 subscription box until you realize they've drained hundreds over the year. Ask yourself, if I didn't already have this, would I sign up today? If the answer is no, cancel it. Create a low-maintenance investment routine. Pick a fixed day each month to review your portfolio. Not every day, not every week. Too much checking tempts you to make emotional moves. Remember, wealth is built in years, not hours. During your monthly review, make your contributions, rebalance if necessary, and walk away. The less you tinker, the more your money can work uninterrupted. Build income growth into your schedule. Dedicate a small block of time each week to activities that increase your earning potential. That could mean taking an online course, networking in your field, applying for higher-paying opportunities, or developing a profitable side project. Even 2 focused hours a week can add thousands to your annual income over time. Keep it simple. Keep it consistent. You don't need a dozen complex strategies to win. You need a consistent flow of money going into investments you understand, and the patience to let time do its work. Wealth isn't just numbers in a bank account. It's a mindset you carry into every decision. And here's the secret. The mental shift often happens before the financial milestone. The moment you start thinking like an asset builder instead of a spender, everything changes. You stop seeing every dollar as something to use up today. Instead, you see it as a seed. One that can grow into $5, $10, or $100 if you give it enough time and the right environment. Impulse purchases start to feel like sabotage. You begin to feel a strange sense of pride, not when you spend, but when you don't. Because you know you just gave another soldier to your financial army. You start asking better questions. Is this moving me forward or holding me back? What's the long-term cost of this choice? How will this decision echo 5, 10, 20 years from now? And here's the part that surprises most people. Millionaires don't rely on willpower. They design their lives so that wealth grows automatically. They don't need to remember to save because their systems do it for them. They don't panic when the market drops because they've built a strategy they trust. Why? Because willpower gets tired. Systems don't. Once you adopt this mindset, the journey stops feeling like a grind. It starts to feel like progress, steady, inevitable, and in your control. You stop seeing wealth as a finish line and start seeing it as a machine that, once built, will work for you for the rest of your life. That's when you know you're not just on your way to your first million. You're building a foundation that can last for generations. The first million isn't built on luck. It's not built on one magical investment or a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's built on discipline, consistency, and a refusal to let small mistakes steal decades from your future. Control your lifestyle. Grow your income. Stick to your plan long enough for compounding to do the heavy lifting. Most people never get there. Not because they don't earn enough, not because they're bad with money, but because they quit in the quiet years, when the progress is invisible and the temptation to give up is loud. Don't be one of them. Every dollar you save today is a silent worker that never clocks out, never asks for a raise, and never calls in sick. Give it a job. Let it work for you. And remember this, the hardest part is not getting to your first million. It's staying in the game long enough to let it happen. If this video helped you see the path more clearly, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. And tell us in the comments, which of these 3 traps have you fallen into? And what's your plan to escape them? Because your first million isn't just possible, it's waiting for you to start. And if you want to go deeper, don't stop here. Click on one of the videos on your screen right now. Each one will take you further into the strategies, history, and mindset shifts that can change the way you build wealth forever.